When I reached there was a treasured mind in that transcendental world. I once heard that there is a magical world. When I reached there was a treasured mind at the heart of the magic. At the end of the journey, I realized that I already possess the treasured mind, the wish-fulfilling jewels, which makes all things possible. Throughout history, there has been a lot of discoveries. For example, the discovery of a wheel, the discovery of electricity, the discovery of a New World, America, or the discovery of internet can be very amazing. And these discoveries has facilitated our life, that we cannot deny. But our third head Dharma master, Venerable Daesan, said the biggest discovery that happened in human history is the discovery of a human mind that the Buddha taught. The discovery of a human mind is the biggest, the greatest discovery. Humans have experienced a lot of revolutions, industrial revolution, scientific revolution, technological revolution, and so on. What can be the most important revolution in this world or in our life? He said, the most important revolution is the revolution in our mind. Revolution, revolt, the root meaning of that word means coming to the origin. Come back to the origin. We have heard that in the early industrial revolution period, many social scientists thought the utopia will be realized very soon. But because of the technological advancement and the mass production, people will not have to worry about what to eat, what to wear, where to live, etc. But most of the people these days do not worry about what to wear or what to eat. But are we that happy? So there are lots of statistics that people in the developed countries are not happy as the people in the underdeveloped countries. So what can be the revolution in our mind or the change in our mind? It can be practicing meditation to purify our mind, or it can be studying scriptures, or listening to the Dharma talk to brighten our mind to attain some wisdom. Or it can be practicing mindfulness in our daily life. So without these changes in our life, we cannot make our life more happier. The Hega, or haiku, is the second patriarch of the Chinese Zen school. He was a big scholar, Confucius scholar when he was young, but his mind was not peaceful. And one day he tried to search for his teacher, and he met the Bodhidharma, the patriarch of Chinese, the first patriarch of the Chinese Buddhism. So, Master, my mind is not at peace. Please put my mind to rest. Then what the Bodhidharma replied? It's a very, very well-known story. The Bodhidharma replied, show me your disturbed mind. So he searched for his disturbed mind for several minutes. And then he said, Master, I have searched for my mind, but I cannot find it. I cannot show it to you. Then the master replied, then I already put your mind to rest. So under that word, Haga had his first awakening. He later became the second patriarch of Chinese Zen Buddhism. Bodhidharma did not ask why you suffer, why you are unhappy, what's your financial or relational situation, etc. Bodhidharma's question was, what suffer? What suffer? He would like to pinpoint the root of suffering. So, without discovering our true mind, our original nature, and without discipline, just as Dr. Rosen said, without discipline, our mind, we cannot attain happiness in our life. Maybe happiness starts, attaining freedom of mind starts from that area. So all the Buddhas from the past, present, and the future are the ones who discovered their original mind and trained it. There was one little girl watching television with her mother on the couch, and she had a very strong itchy sensation on her leg, and she scratched it for a while, but it's not refreshing, it's just still itchy. So she's a little worried about it, and she talked to her mother, Mom, I scratched my legs, but it's still itchy. What's wrong with me? The mother told her, honey, you scratched my leg. So if the cart does not move, we need to whip the horse, not the cart. That we heard many times. So, something you think is wrong in our life, why don't you first look into our mind? So, one Tibetan novice monk met one master and would like to practice Dharma, study Dharma, and would like to attain great enlightenment. So he asked, Master, what am I supposed to do? The master replied, you need to practice the Dharma. And he was not sure what is the Dharma exactly. So from the next day, he studied and mastered all kinds of rites and rituals. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's a very complicated and very time-consuming thing. After several years, he met the master again and said he mastered all the rites and rituals. But the master said, no, it is not the path. You need to practice the Dharma. So probably what can be the Dharma practicing? From the next day, for several years, he studied all the scriptures. It's very painstaking. When he met his master one more time, the master also shook his head and said the same thing. No, you need to practice. So probably he thought to himself, probably those things are very superficial things. So he started to meditate. He meditated in a very devoted way for a couple of years and went to the master again and asked the same question. So is it the right path to attain great enlightenment? Is this the right path to practice? But the master said, no, you needed to practice. So he got very upset, so angry, and he asked, what age do you think is a practice? What is a spiritual practice? He asked. Then the master replied, spiritual practice is working with your mind. Working with your mind. Sometimes it is meditating. Sometimes it is being involved in Dharma conversation. Sometimes it is giving presentation for other people. It can be diverse, depending on the situation, depending on your situation. But basically, what is a spiritual practice? It is working with our mind. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus said, if you say the kingdom of God, let's say nirvana, kingdom of God or nirvana is in heaven or in the sky, Jesus said that, then birds would be the first to enter the kingdom of God. If you say your sin can be dissolved by being baptized by water, then it would be fish first whose sin can be dissolved. The kingdom of God is within ourselves, he said. Several months ago, I lost my iPhone. I was embarrassed. All the information is here. How can I type all the telephone number again? But fortunately, 3 days later, I discovered that. If we lose our true self, our original mind, first of all, we do not know what is our true self. Then let's just think about that. Are we that desperate, just like we lose our wallet or iPhone or whatever, credit card, etc.? It's a more serious thing if we lose our true self, our true mind. The wisdom part we need to cultivate. At the same time, we need to practice spiritual cultivation. I told this story before to our One Dharma Center member. There was a novice monk who always complained about the monastery situation. In all the days in the summertime, it's too hot. In the winter, it's too cold, etc. And his teacher, the old monk, one day asked him, why don't you bring a cup of water, a bucket of water, and some salt? So the young novice monk brought some salt and a cup of water, a bucket of water. And his teacher asked, put a handful of salt inside the cup and drink it. When he drank the water, then he said, wow, teacher, it's very salty. It's very salty. Why don't you put a handful of salt in that bucket? Then he drank some of the water. He said, it's not that bad, but still salty, pretty salty. And the old monk brought the intern to the lake. Why don't you throw all the salt inside the lake and drink some water? And he put all the salt inside the lake and drank a cup of water from the lake, and how does it taste? He said, it's not salty at all. It's not salty at all. Let's say some challenging situation, some difficulties in our life is some salt. Salt is, the amount of the salt is the same, but how salty it is depends on the capacity of the cup or bucket or the lake. It depends on the capacity of our mind, the scale, the level of our mind. When it comes to the muscle, the more you use it, the stronger, the more it becomes empowered. Because so we don't use our mind or muscle that much. But when it comes to our mind, the more it is put to rest, the more it becomes empowered. Because we use our mind, our brain, too much. So meditation is not just a stress reduction technique. It is a great path to empower our mind, to strengthen our mind. So our mind is weakened. Then it's like some drifting leaves. According to the wind, it wanders around. Buddha said, 8 kinds of wind: praise and blame, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, success and failure. He said, we humans are moved by these winds. But our mind becomes bigger, like from the drifting leaves to the big tree, then it can be moved. But if our mind becomes strengthened and solid like Catskill Mountain, but despite all the strong wind, it's a moving. That is the path of meditation or spiritual cultivation. When I visited the old garden over there, it was almost abandoned. We used to have a garden over here, your garden you have seen when you drive to here. It was covered by weeds, and we could not harvest any crops because nobody took care of the garden. Our mind is just like that. If we don't take care of that, it's just like an abandoned field. We cannot harvest good crops, happiness, freedom of mind. What is bad crops? It can be jealousy, resentment, anger, etc. So I'd like to finish it to quote one Zen saying, cultivation of mind for 3 days will last as a treasure for 1,000 years, but material things which were amassed for 100 years will crumble into a dust in one morning. So during this retreat, let's all take care of our mind very well. Okay, thank you. Let's have a 30 minutes of a break, and if you want, it's an optional thing. You can come back here and practice meditation for 30 minutes from 11